to all, this is Shiva signing in Kolluru Lectures. Today we are going to discuss about quadratic equations. So this is very important topic in the basics of IIT Foundation. So let us now have a wide look onto it. So before going to quadratic equations, first of all, the equation is nothing but if an algebraic expression has been equated to 0, we will call it as an equation. So now let us have a look on what is the quadratic equation. First of all, before going to the quadratic equation, let us discuss about what is a quadratic polynomial. So quadratic polynomial is nothing but the algebraic expression which is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c, where a, b, c are constants and x is nothing but the variable. Now, if I equate the quadratic polynomial to 0, I will get a quadratic equation. Let us suppose, for example, if I assume the quadratic polynomial as ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, it is nothing but the quadratic equation. Here the main condition for quadratic equation, main condition for this quadratic equation is a should not be equal to 0, where a, b, c belongs to complex numbers. So complex numbers are nothing but the number system which is apart from above the real number system. Above the real number system is nothing but the complex number system. So here definitely a should not be equal to 0. Suppose if a is equal to 0, what will happen? It will be converted to the linear equations. Suppose if a is equal to 0, this entire term ax square will get neutralized to 0. So the remaining equation bx plus c is equal to 0, which is nothing but a linear equation. We will call it as a linear equation but not a quadratic equation. So the main condition here is a should not be equal to 0. So apart from this, when we are studying about quadratic equation, the main thing here it is, as we have known that a, b, c are nothing but the constants, and here the only variable is nothing but the x. So here if I have a quadratic equation, I need to calculate the value of x. So here officially and mathematically we have one name which is nothing but root, which is nothing but root. Root means the value of the variable x which satisfies ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So the value of x which satisfies ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 is nothing but, we will call it as root. Suppose if you see here, how many roots it will have? How many roots does a quadratic equation have? Here the answer is very simple. Here normally if I see ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, here the degree of the equation is 2, because the highest power involved with the terms in the given equation is 2. The highest power of the terms involved in the equation is 2. So the degree of this equation is 2. So always the number of roots, the utmost number of roots of an equation will be is equal to degree. So I can say that maximum number of roots, utmost roots of quadratic equation will be 2 roots. That means for every quadratic equation we will have two values of x which satisfies ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now here we might have a doubt that if we have the value of x, what can we do with it? Of course, if they have given the question, if you're right, we'll get the marks. Beyond that, what is the application of this quadratic equation? Normally, the application of this quadratic equation will be very wide, because suppose if I take some of the chapters in engineering domain, especially in electronics and communication, as well as in electrical and electronics engineering, the quadratic equation, you can find it especially in the transfer function of second order systems. So the mainly here, why we are calculating the value of x is nothing but in order to calculate the stability of system of second order system. Here it is very simple. See here, in terms of engineering, we are calling it as second order system. Means we called it as second order system because it is the degree of the equation is 2. The degree of the equation is 2. That is the reason why we are calling it as second order system here in terms of words of engineering. Here means the application of quadratic equation is entirely related to stability of the system. Here when we are calculating the transfer function of a system, always the stability of a system can be analyzed with transfer function. Transfer function of a system. Here, what is its transfer function? Transfer function of any system. Transfer function of any system is nothing but it will have a numerator and it will have a denominator. Here, if the quadratic equation is in the denominator, then if we equate it to 0, we will get the values of roots. Based on the value of roots, we are going to estimate the stability of the system. Based on the value of the roots, we are going to estimate stability of the system. So stability of the system in the sense whether they are stable or marginally stable or critically stable. So we have some words which are related to it in terms of engineering domain. Fine, let me confine the application of quadratic equation as in such a way that mainly the quadratic equation will be seen in the transfer function. Transfer function is nothing but it is a numerator and a denominator. It is nothing but a numerator upon a denominator. In denominator, if you have the quadratic equation, so we have, in order to determine the stability of the system, we need to equate the denominator to equal to 0. So if when we equate it to 0, we will get the values of the x. So here the values of the x will decide whether the system is stable or not stable, or marginally stable or critically stable. So that is the reason we can say indirectly that this is the basics. This is the very basic need of the control systems, especially in the subject of control systems in terms of engineering. So don't consider it as only to mathematics. So kindly relate it to some other engineering domains also. And then one more thing which I want to say is, here we are speaking about some transfer function, some second order system. So here the second order system is nothing but always it deals about, let me complete this. It is nothing but whatever might be the system, always the system will have a resistance, an inductance and capacitance. Resistance is made from, and at the same time inductance L is nothing but the wire, capacitance is nothing but the plates in between, the capacitance of the plates, capacitors. So that means we are analyzing the wire, we are analyzing the wire. See how the electrical components are related to quadratic equations. So what I am trying to say is, it's not only quadratic equations, it is nothing but we are analyzing. If we go in depth of the chapter which is related to engineering domain, we are going to analyze the resistor, a wire and a capacitor. So fine. So this is about the applications of quadratic equations. Now let us go for how to determine the value of x, how to calculate the value of x. Mainly, before going to this, let me tell you some of the types of quadratic equations. So normally here we have incomplete quadratic equation, pure quadratic equation, monic quadratic equation. So incomplete quadratic equation in the sense, normally we know quadratic equation is nothing but ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Incomplete quadratic equation in the sense, here either b or c can be equal to 0. Then we will call the respective equation, quadratic equation, as incomplete quadratic equation. If we go for pure quadratic equation, here b should be is equal to 0. If b is equal to 0, automatically we will get ax square plus c is equal to 0. Ax square plus c is equal to 0. Now coming to monic quadratic equation, here in the name itself we can analyze. Mono means single, means 1. So if the value of a is equal to 1, automatically the quadratic equation will change to x square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So these are some of the types of the quadratic equations. And next, if we go on, if we search for the methods, in what way we are going to calculate the value of x, we can follow three basic methods. Those are nothing but factorization method, completing the squares method, and at the same time direct formula. I can call it as Sridharachary's rule also. Sridharachary's rule. So now, hope enough basic we have been studied in this very small sorts of time. So now in the upcoming video we are going to study about factorization method, completing the squares method, and Sridharachary's rule in an efficient way. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.